Sur presentation brought to you by AARP and New Knowledge Adventures, also known as NKA. NKA is a volunteer-driven organization in the beautiful Treasure Valley of Idaho. We have been going strong since 2015 and provide an array of programs, classes, and excursions each year. Today's presenter, an NKA volunteer for many years, is Alexander Sapiens. He is a professor emeritus from San Jose State University in California. Since retiring in 2009, he has traveled the world, all the while enjoying his favorite pastime of birding. Today's presentation will focus first on the area of southern Baja. Then Alexander will move on to presenting about the birds of the region. If you're not interested in birds, feel free to sign off at that point in the presentation, and there will be a question and answer opportunity prior to that transition. Due to the large number of participants, you will be muted by the host. However, if you have questions, and we do encourage them, please put them in the chat box and they will be addressed at the appropriate time. And now here is Alexander to say hello and to begin.
Good morning. Are you going to now do the presentation?
I thought they would want to look at your face before you
Okay.
begin. Okay, we'll start.
We'd want to see that face.
Okay, you can start.
Okay, it's the text is blocked. So you hit okay?
What we want to do is use us for 1 minute while we get this ready.
Welcome to this tour of Baja California Sur. We'll be covering 5 thriving communities in Baja California Sur. When people think of Baja California, they think of a 1,000-mile-long peninsula south of California that is mostly desert. It actually has 2 Mexican states, Baja California Norte and Baja California Sur. Our focus will be on the lower half of this terrestrial sock that is known for its tourism and bird life, Baja California Sur. Okay, Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo at the southern end of the peninsula are known as Los Cabos. And that is where most of the tourism occurs. Los Barriles is a small town on the Sea of Cortez coast. Todos Santos on the Pacific coast is known for its art community and truck farming. And La Paz is the capital of Baja California Sur. It is the largest city and the industrial center of the state. Following the presentation of communities, I will give an overview of birds commonly seen in Baja California Sur that I have photographed. This is an aerial view of Cabo San Lucas Marina. 3 to 4 ships land in Cabo San Lucas several times a week. Cabo San Lucas is known for its beaches, thrilling adventures, and cultural experiences. The marina is filled with many privately owned boats and yachts that are used for fishing, whale watching, and excursions. Medano Beach is the largest beach in Cabo San Lucas and is lined with bars, restaurants, and resorts. Since this beach is dedicated to sunbathing and swimming, boats are not allowed near its shore. Los Cabos is known for its world-class resorts and luxurious spas. You can enjoy a plethora of adventures that range from ATV tours, zip lining, parasailing, horseback riding, riding camels, whale watching, and bird watching. This section of Cabo has become wall-to-wall resorts, stores, and golf courses, as noted on the map. At Land's End, which is the southernmost tip of Baja, is El Arco, or the Arch, where boats will take you to see the Pacific Ocean from the Sea of Cortez. On the Sea of Cortez, you will find Lover's Beach. From the Pacific side, it is Divorce Beach. This is a picture of Pancho, sea lion. He learned to ride on the back of fishing boats to beg for fish scraps. Since his demise,
I'm not very dramatic, Jim. You're dramatic.
okay. So, since his demise,
I said it to both.
okay, somebody is also speaking and they should be on mute.
You can ask Rick if he thinks it was dramatic. I don't think it was particularly dramatic.
Okay, somebody should be on mute.
Look, Stanley needs to call you about that case, okay? So expect this call.
Okay, so Pancho's offspring have learned to ride on the back of boats. And as you can see, they feed them the fish scraps. Humpback and great whales migrate to these warm waters to breed and to give birth from November to March. This is a picture I took of a whale breaching in the sunset. This area is also known for its deep sea fishing. You can see the man with 3 fish at his feet and 1 in each arm. The Bisbee Marlin Fishing Competition is held every October in Cabo San Lucas. This is a lucky fisherman with a prize marlin. There are many ships, such as this pirate ship, for tourists to take on excursions along the Sea of Cortez to party and to look for whales, dolphins, manta ray, and flying fish. The glass-blowing factory in Cabo San Lucas has demonstrations as well as exquisite glass figurines, bowls, and other products made of glass on site and for sale. I think it's a must-see visit. This is a view of Cabo San Lucas from Punta Ballena, or Whale Point. Notice the cruise ship in port. Punta Ballena is an area that provides excellent whale watching from shore and opportunities to view other wildlife. There are several resorts in this area. And Whale Point is where the whales like to come to scrape crustaceans off of their skin. I spotted a pair of mule deer on the grounds of Hacienda Encantada, located on Punta Ballena. Looking at the ears of the female deer on the right, you can see why they are called mule deer. And this is a young buck. The cardone cactus is similar to the saguaro cactus of Arizona. It is a different species that is endemic to Baja California. A large cardone cactus can store as much as a ton of water. Bats are the main pollinator of this cactus. Some have lived as long as 500 years. Many birds nest in them, such as owls, flickers, and cactus wrens. The sunsets and sunrises in Baja California are stunning. I would go just for the sunrises. Okay, now we will travel to San Jose del Cabo. The international airport for this region is located north of here. You can take a toll road from the airport to San Jose del Cabo. To Cabo San Lucas or to San Jose del Cabo. This community was first visited by Hernan Cortes in 1530. So long history there. Mission of San Jose del Cabo was founded by the Jesuits in 1730. This twin-spired church adjoins Plaza Mijares and is the heart of the town's historic colonial center. The cobblestone streets radiate from the plaza and are 18th century buildings occupied by art galleries, garden bistros, and colorful shops carrying jewelry, wooden sculptures, hand-painted ceramics, and other artisan-produced items. The San Jose estuary flows into the Sea of Cortez. This estuary is the largest source of fresh water in the desert. That is why it is a magnet for the wildlife and birds of Baja California Sur. Pedestrians can walk along the estuary and are able to view up close a large variety of birds and other wildlife. In fact, on the west side of the estuary, they pretty much chopped down most of the plant life so that people can see the water. The San Jose estuary is a verdant nature reserve with migratory bird species such as egrets, ibis, ducks, gulls, and shorebirds. The water level of the estuary changes with the season. By the way, those are coots in the water. Tourists can ride horses on the beach and pathways around the estuary. The beach rides seem to be the most popular. East of the city of San Jose del Cabo is the second largest marina of Los Cabos. And then further east from there, they've started building more resorts. North of San Jose del Cabo is a small community of Los Barriles. This resort is primarily populated by American and Canadian expats. As can be seen in this photo, Los Barriles means the barrels. This map shows Los Barriles as a community between Highway 1 and the Sea of Cortez. The beach is very clean and usually filled with people. Los Barriles is blessed with beautiful sandy beaches. Tourists can rent ATVs or all-terrain vehicles to explore the beaches and creek beds. And those creek beds are kind of like roads, even though it's not actually a road, but you can't actually drive on them. Because of the afternoon winds, many tourists enjoy kiteboarding and parasailing at Los Barriles. Now we will travel to the Pacific Ocean to Todos Santos. It was founded as a mission by Jesuits in 1724. And because of year-round water, this region provides many of the fresh vegetables for Baja California Sur. Todos Santos has many restaurants and bars and art galleries, as indicated by this map. Great food. Hotel California was established in the 1950s. The Eagles song, Hotel California, was written in the 1970s. And despite popular belief, the hotel was not the inspiration for the Eagles song. Nonetheless, Hotel California has a popular restaurant and gift shop. Personally, I like their hot chocolate. Mission Santa Rosa in Todos Santos was founded by the Jesuits in 1733. Most of the vegetable farms are found in El Pescadero, a small town near Todos Santos. El Pescadero started, as the name states, as a fishing village. On this map, you can see a line delineating the Tropic of Cancer, which is the halfway point between the equator and the North Pole. San Pedrito and Los Cerritos beaches are popular for surfing. Back up. San Pedrito and Los Cerritos beaches. One of the adventures that tourists enjoy is camel riding just south of Todos Santos. So you get to dress up as a Bedouin and ride a camel. The last city we will visit is La Paz. La Paz is the state capital of Baja California with a population of 250,000. La Paz has several universities, and it is the industrial center for Baja California Sur. La Paz has an international airport. This is a map of downtown La Paz with the restaurants and hotels along the boardwalk. This is the boardwalk. The boardwalk has the statue of a sailfish and a pearl to memorialize marlin fishing and pearl fishing. This is also a great place to see the endemic yellow-footed gull, which is a gull that is endemic to the Sea of Cortez, meaning you can only see it there. The Cathedral of San Agustin was founded by the Jesuits in the mid-18th century. Cruise ships sometimes stop at La Paz, and there's a ferry between La Paz and Sonora. So, this map shows us the 5 communities that we explored, starting at the bottom with Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo, which is really the tourist center of La Paz. Then Los Barriles and Todos Santos, which is kind of a art center. And then ending with La Paz, which is the industrial center of Baja California Sur. And this road here is a freeway all the way to Cabo San Lucas. And this road, which is part of Highway 1, is a two-way road through the mountains. So most people take the freeway. So now we will pause for questions and answers about the 5 communities in Baja California. And then following that, we will share photos of birds that we're seeing in Baja California Sur. Okay, so.
So Alexander, questions that somebody asked about a map of Baja, but it looks like somebody actually did post it and you actually provided it too. Carl asks, basically a statement, I kind of want to go to the place where they have whale petting, San Ignacio Lagoon. Guess he's asking do you know about that?
Yeah, it's much further north on the Pacific coast. So I think it's about 5 hours north of Cabo San Lucas. So you could drive it in a day.
Nancy asked, what criteria is used to date the age of a cactus?
You know, I don't think they have tree rings, but I do know that they have dated them. I'm not sure how they do it. And the Cardon cactus is actually larger than the saguaro cactus. And as I said, there are some that are over 500 years old.
Deb asked, how did the Barrel City get its name?
I'm assuming from the barrels. I have no idea how they had barrels there. Although I do know it's called Los Barriles.
And Sheena is asking, can you point out where the San Jose airport, oh wait, okay, so Delise is asking, do you fly into La Paz to get to Cabo San Lucas?
No, the largest airport in Baja California Sur is actually the Los Cabos airport, which is right about here on the arrow. And as I said, there's a toll road that connects the airport to Cabo San Lucas, and it also goes to San Jose del Cabo. Or you can take the old road, which is more dangerous, but free, to the airport. So it's about 3 miles north of San Jose del Cabo.
Okay, so Sheena is asking if you can point out the San Jose airport on the map.
Yes, it's right about here.
So that's the airport in Cabo.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And then it costs about $1.25 on the toll road to take the toll road if you rent a car. And I believe a taxi costs about $50.
Okay. What are the travel restrictions in and out of Cabo, if there are any?
I don't know of any. I've never had a problem. Nor have I ever seen a place where they've stopped people on the highway. I've never been stopped. I've been all over that area and I've never been stopped by policemen or the military. Nor have I seen them. It's mostly tourists and very safe.
Nice. I guess that's the last part of the questions for this. Let's see. What tips can you give us about getting a ride share to the beach resorts? Do they have Uber or Lyft or anything like that? Is it mostly just taxis?
It's mostly taxis. Some of them, I know that where we go, we have a timeshare at Hacienda Encantada. They do have a shuttle service that, and Hacienda Encantada would be right there. They have a shuttle service that takes you twice a day to Cabo San Lucas. And it's free. Or you, and they also have taxis that you can rent. So there are a lot of taxi service here. And they do drive kind of crazy. So if you're not used to it, I would strongly suggest taking a cab.
Mm.
But they do have Uber as well.
Okay. Does one need to convert their money on the way in, or do they take American money?
Most places will take American money, but the exchange rate isn't as good. And so usually what we do is we never use the money exchange at the airport. As soon as we get to the hotel or the resort, we go to the ATM and exchange into pesos, which I believe was about 16 to 1, but it goes up and down all the time.
Right. Are US citizens buying lots near La Paz to build homes? There was a presentation about this in California. Builder seems to think it is safe and cheap to buy land there. Do you know anything about that?
No, but I would think that buying a home in La Paz, which is not really a big tourist center, would be much cheaper than Los Cabos, or the area between Cabo San Lucas and San Jose del Cabo. Most of these, I don't think you could buy a lot for under $250,000. So the real estate in this lower area, because of the tourism, is very expensive. But you can get the further you get away from the water, the cheaper it becomes.
How is the crime in the larger cities?
You know, we've never experienced any crime, but then we don't go out at night. You know, any activities that we have are usually at the resort at night. We don't travel at night. And so I know there's been incidences of some crime, but usually it is at night. And it's sort of like here. We don't go out at night. So we've never experienced any problem with crime.
Will it be okay with very limited Spanish?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost funny that when you go to the resorts, I would say half of the personnel had lived or were educated in the United States and then got deported. And so half of the people we encounter especially in this area, speak English as well as you and I, because they were educated in the United States.
Okay, it seems like that's the last of the questions for this topic. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then we will move to
Thank you.
looking at the birds. Since I'm a bird watcher or a birder. Okay, starting with the Gray Thrasher. The Gray Thrasher is an endemic bird. Endemic means that it only occurs in this area. So it's only found in Baja California Sur. It's a gray-brown bird. It's gray-brown above with cinnamon tones on the rump. And its underparts are white with arrow-shaped black spots. And the Gray Thrasher typically forages on the ground. The Xanthus's hummingbird is another endemic bird only found in Baja California Sur. You can identify it by its orange bill and the white eyebrow and the orange breast. There are only 2 hummingbirds that you will find in Baja California Sur. The other one is the Costa's hummingbird, which has become very common in the past decade, and it's easily recognized by its purple gorget and a small black bill. And in this photo, you can see the hummingbird feeding off of this flower. But again, with this striking purple gorget. So they have the magnificent frigate bird, which is an impressive seabird that soars along both coasts. The male has a red guller sac that he inflates to attract a mate. And they both have deeply forked tails and long, narrow wings. And both are black. However, the female has a white breast. And as you can see, the male has that red guller sac. The Brandt's cormorant is a small black cormorant with a blue throat, and it has white feathers that flare out from the sides of the head. I've only seen it at Cabo San Lucas. The double-crested cormorant is a common large seabird in the estuary. Well, actually, they're common in rivers, lakes, and the coast. And they have strong hooked bills. And they're all black, except for a bare patch of orange, orange-yellow facial skin right there. And this one has caught a fish and is ready to swallow it. And then during breeding season, it will develop a double crest. Cormorants primarily eat fish. I've never seen them eat anything else. Brown pelicans are a large coastal bird that dives headfirst for fish. The adults are kind of a gray-brown with a yellow head and white necks. See the white neck there? And they have a giant bill, which has a very large pouch. And then during the breeding season, the adults have red skin on their throat pouch. But this throat pouch will inflate to about like that. Okay. The American white pelican is a communal bird and is usually seen in flocks. You don't often see it all by itself, and they do not dive from the air for fish, but they fish communally on the water. So you'll see like a dozen pelicans herding fish near the surface of the water, and then they all eat together. And they are much larger than a brown pelican. And although you think of them as all white, when they are flying, the trailing edge of the wing is black. We're gonna go through the grebes. The eared grebe has a dark gray bill, about half the length of its head, with a red eye. In winter, its head is dark from the bill across the base of the eye to the top of the cheek. And the front of the neck is white, and the back of the neck is dark. And the least grebe is the smallest grebe, and it has a yellowish orange eye and a small pointed bill, but you can distinguish it from the eared grebe by its eye color, because they pretty much look the same, even though one is much smaller than the other. This is the pied-billed grebe. It's a small, compact grebe, kind of chunky with a short neck and a thick bicolored bill. And it has an overall brown appearance, and pied bill means bicolored or two colors. And then the western grebe is a large black and white grebe with a black crown that extends below the eye. It has a long, slender, upturned, greenish yellow bill. It's almost as long as the head. And they're twice as large as the other grebes. And they're known for dancing on the water during the mating season. Okay. The American kestrel is a small, long-tailed falcon with long, narrow, pointed, and tapered wings. And its back is reddish brown with fine dark barring. And the head has two vertical bars. It's the only one that has two vertical bars. Of course, it's in North America, it's the smallest falcon. We have a Cooper's hawk, which is a medium-sized, long-tailed hawk that primarily eats birds. And it has a banded tail that is rounded at the end. And they always appear to have an angry look. And I've only seen Cooper's hawks in Baja. The peregrine falcon has a pale body with dark brown streaking, and it has a wide, dark cheek bar below the eye. And it's renowned for its speed, which can exceed 200 miles an hour in a dive. And it's a large falcon that is commonly used in falconry. And it was brought back from near extinction by eliminating the use of DDT. And so it went from less than 100 falcons worldwide to thousands now. So it's really done a great job recovering. The red-tailed hawk is a large, broad-winged hawk with dark feathers on the leading edge of the wing and on the tips of the wing. And the adults have the red tail, but the juveniles do not. And the red-tailed hawk would be your most common hawk. This is a northern harrier, which is a medium-sized long-tailed hawk with a white rump. You can always spot the white rump right before the tail. And it always tends to fly low over the marsh. And it has an owl-like face. And so in effect, it's a hawk that acts like an owl during the day. Osprey only eat fish. They're known as a fish hawk or a fish eagle. It is a large raptor that is brown above and white below. And they always dive feet first. And most of these have a fish. This one will begin eating the head of the fish first. And when they carry a fish, they carry the fish head first. And in the San Jose estuary, there are a lot of osprey. I'd say in one given day, you'd probably see 20 of them. This is a crested caracara. Caracara looks like a hawk, but behaves like a vulture. And it's really technically a tropical falcon, but they can be found with vultures eating carrion. Actually, a very beautiful bird. This is the zone-tailed hawk, which is a medium-sized hawk that will fly with the vultures. And they eat mostly small mammals, reptiles, and amphibians. But they disguise themselves by flying with vultures and then diving down to catch a squirrel or small rabbit. So they're sneaky. Beautiful bird. This is a larger bird, the common black hawk. The common black hawk is a large broad-winged raptor with a short tail and long legs. And it has two broad white stripe, and then the edge of the tail is white, unlike the zone-tailed hawk, which has just one white stripe. And this bird is much bigger and broader wings. Then we have the Harris's hawk, which is a large broad-winged hawk with white under the tail. The Harris's hawk is used a lot in falconry, I think more than the peregrine falcon. And they're very smart, and they tend to hunt in teams. Like one will scare up a rabbit, and the other one will be off to one side. And as the rabbit runs out of the bush, the second one will grab it. And then they share the food. Impressive looking hawk. And this is a turkey vulture. It's a large dark vulture with white on the trailing edge of the wings. They eat carrion and have an excellent sense of smell. And they have a red head with no feathers, so they can get down into rotting meat. And they can protect themselves by projectile vomiting stomach acid at their attackers. And so they can project maybe 10 feet. And so it's very acidic. They're the only animal that can kill the hantavirus or bubonic plague virus with its stomach acid. So they're actually good to have around. This is the great horned owl. It's a large owl with large ear tufts and yellow eyes. Their large eyes do not move in their sockets, but they can swivel their heads more than 180 degrees. And they fly very quietly in pursuit of prey. You cannot hear them when they're flying. And after they digest their prey, they regurgitate the remains in the form of owl pellets. So when I'm looking for a great horned owl, I generally look at the base of trees and I look for the owl pellets. And another aside is their eyes are really large. And so their brains actually are very small. So I think the wise old owl is a myth because they are not as wise as a raven, for example. Okay, this is the American coot, which is a dark gray chicken-like marsh bird with a black head and a white bill. And they have lobed toes. And they have short rounded wings and are weak flyers. So as they swim, they bob their heads back and forth. And if they were to fly, they would literally have to run across the top of the water before they could take off. The common gallinule is a medium-sized gray marsh bird with long yellow legs and a brown back, and it is dark gray with a bright red frontal shield on its face. They are smaller than the American coot, but like the coot, they have lobed toes. I was surprised to see that there are no mallards, no mallard ducks in Baja California Sur. And ducks are classified as dabbling ducks or diving ducks. The dabbling ducks feed on the surface of the water or just below with their butts in the air. The dabbling ducks have their legs located at the center of the body and are easily able to walk on land, and they can fly directly off the water. Diving ducks dive deep into the water to feed. So diving ducks have their legs located near the rear of the body and have difficulty walking on land. And they have to run on the surface of the water in order to take off. So this is the American widgeon, known as the ball pate. And they spend most of their time in flocks grazing on land. And the male has a white crown and a broad green band behind the eye. Whereas the female is just kind of has an all gray head. Both males and females have blue bills. Gadwall is a common widespread dabbling duck with a gray-brown body and a black rump. They actually have black right in the front and in the back. And in flight, they have chestnut and white patches on the wing. Beautiful bird. They're one of the larger ducks. Blue-winged teal is a small dabbling duck, and the head of the male has a white crescent between the bill and the eyes. Okay? And probably the most common teal. The cinnamon teal is a small dabbling duck with bright cinnamon plumage and a long black bill. And they also have a red eye. The green-winged teal is a small gray duck with a chestnut head. It has a green eye band that extends to the back of the head. It's actually the smallest of the teals. And the green-winged teal has a white vertical stripe on the shoulder here. And that's what would distinguish it from a European green-winged teal. One of the larger dabbling ducks is the northern pintail. It's an elegant, large, long-necked dabbling duck. And they have long, pointed tails. And as I said, I think northern pintail is probably the most elegant of the ducks. The male northern shoveler is white with rusty flanks and a green head. And the female is a mottled brown. The bill of the northern shoveler is big and shaped like a shovel. And the odd-shaped bill has about 110 projections called lamellae along the edges that act as a colander, filtering out crustaceans, seeds, and aquatic invertebrates from the water. So they tend to feed by circling on the surface of the water. And you can kind of make out that the bill has kind of a curvature to it. Lesser scaup is a medium-sized diving duck with a blue bill. The body is almost white with a black head and breast, and a black tail. And the ringneck duck should have been called the ring-billed duck. The male has a black head, neck, and back, and black tail with a white breast. The gray bill has a white band and a black tip. So you can make out the white tip. And the female is brown with a classic white irie. That's what would distinguish her from the scaup. But she also has a winged bill. The redhead is a medium-sized diving duck with cinnamon red head. And the male has a black chest and a gray body. And kind of a bluish bill with a black tip. The ruddy duck is a small, compact diving duck with a scoop-shaped bill and a long, stiff tail that is often held up. The breeding males have a chestnut body and blue bills. That bill will turn very bright blue. And the male has a whiter cheek than the female. The sora is a small, chubby marsh bird with long toes and a bright yellow bill. It has a black mask about the eyes. And they're very elusive. I got lucky when this one stepped out of the tulies so that I could get its picture. This is a pair of American white ibis. And the American white ibis is a large white wading bird with a football-shaped body. And they have long pink curved bill and long pink legs. Hard to confuse it with another bird. Then we have the white-faced ibis, which is a large wading bird with a long curved bill, and their wings are metallic green and bronze. The breeding adults have white around and behind the eyes, whereas non-breeding adults, like these two, do not have the white, but they all have red eyes. Okay, so we're looking at a white-faced ibis without the white face. This is the American avocet, which I think is a beautiful bird. It's a large, slender shorebird with a long upturned bill, a long neck, as you can see here, and a round head. The non-breeding adults are black and white, and the breeding adults have a tan head and neck. The black neck stilts are black and white shorebirds with long, thin black bills and extremely long pink legs, hence the name stilt. Okay. So the legs are definitely pink. These are pink too, but the lighting is just doesn't show them. Now this is the American oyster catcher, which is kind of a chunky white shorebird with a brown back, a black head and neck. And it has a vivid red-orange bill and red eyes. And they live exclusively on shellfish. The whimbrel is a large football-shaped shorebird with a long black curved bill, and a long neck and legs, and it has a striped head. The long-billed curlew is a large, long-legged shorebird with a very long, thin, curved bill. That bill is about 4 times the length of its head. And it has a heavy football-shaped body with a long neck and a small rounded head. And it's among the shorebirds, it's the tallest, one of the tallest. This is a marble godwit with a large, long-legged shorebird with long upturned bill pointing toward God, hence God with. The bill tends to be pinkish orange with a black tip. Non-breeding adults have barred backs and unstreaked cinnamon underparts. Willets are large, stocky shorebirds that are grayish brown with long bills and legs. When it spreads its wings, it has a distinctive black and white pattern. So once they fly, you know it's a godwit based on that wing pattern. Long-billed dowitcher is a medium-sized shorebird with a very long bill, long legs, and short tail. And the bill is twice as long as the head. And they have a distinctive sewing machine feeding behavior. And you'll always see this bird in large groups. This is the greater yellowlegs. They're slender, long neck, small-headed shorebirds with bright yellow legs. The wandering tattler is the medium-sized shorebird with a long bill and short, thick yellow legs. Breeding birds are gray above and barred gray and white below. And they bob their tails up and down. Killdeer is a large brown and white plover with two black bands across the chest. It gets its name from its shrill two-syllable call that sounds like killdeer. It is known for its broken wing strategy used to lure predators from its nest. Semi-palmated plover is a small compact shorebird with short stubby bill, round head, and large eyes. It is plump with a short neck and medium length yellow legs. It has one dark breastband. Snowy plover is a small plump shorebird with a short head and a short slender bill and a short tail. Non-breeding birds have a dark crown and a pale neck stripe. They're sandy gray above and white below, black bill and gray legs. Solitary sandpiper is a small slender shorebird with a long leg, long neck, and long tail. And it has an olive brown back, white underparts, and a white eye ring. And it bobs its tail. Spotted sandpiper is a bit smaller. It's a small shorebird that is brown above and white below. The bill is orange with a black tip, and it bobs its tail when it walks. It has a white line above the eyes and long yellowish legs. And it is spotted during breeding season. And again, much smaller than the solitary sandpiper. The Bayard sandpiper is a small shorebird with long, dark legs. It has long wing tips that extend below the tail point and is brown above and white below. The Lee sandpiper is the smallest shorebird, has a small round body with short pointed wings. They have thin black decurved bills with yellow legs. They're brown above and white below, and it's about the size of a sparrow. The western sandpiper is a bit larger. It's a small, portly shorebird with a long, thin black bill and a slightly decurved tip. And it has long pointed wings, a short tail, and medium length dark legs.
Alexander, before you go on, a couple of questions have come up.
Okay.
One of them is from Gypsy about the oyster catcher.
Yes.
How does the long orange bill help the bird, or the curved bill help the crawler gather food? Um, Such cool variations between the birds with their legs and the bills and the wings and their behaviors. She was just asking about those particular ones.
Well, the oyster catcher, again, has a very thick, heavy bill, and it only eats crustaceans like clams and oysters. And so they have to be able to break that shell. And and I believe a clam will be maybe 3 inches below the surface of the sand. And so that bill is long enough to reach that. Whereas like the whimbrel and the long-billed curlew, they actually get down into the water in shallow water. So they're actually getting a lot of their food in the water, in the sand, hence the much longer bill.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Another question was about the vulture, I think, from it was early on, how and its ability to kill the hantavirus. How
Yeah,
does that work I mean, do they? I understand their stomach is really acidic, but how
very
do
acidic.
they do that?
Okay, the way they do it, for example, here in southwestern Idaho, we have ground squirrels that have hantavirus and bubonic plague. But it's not a problem because when they die, the turkey vulture will eat the squirrel with the virus, and in eating the squirrel, it destroys the virus. It's the only bird.
Gotcha.
Okay, so shall I go on?
One other question, a budding birder here. Do you take all these photos yourself, or what do
Yes,
you, did you, okay.
yeah, these are all photos. I mean, a lot of them are not, you know, phenomenal, but yeah, I've taken them myself.
And what kind of camera? How do you do?
Okay, I went from a smaller camera to now I use a Canon 7D Mark II. I like that particular camera, and I've actually bought two of them. And then I use a Canon lens, a 100 to 400, which is very light and very fast. I also have a 600 millimeter lens that weighs about 5 pounds. And with that lens, you actually have to use a tripod or a monopod. And so carrying a heavy camera all day long can get old very quickly. And that's why I've gone with the lighter 100 to 400 lens.
Gotcha. Okay, that's helpful. People are kind of interested in how you get all these pictures. I think as a real birder, you would never think of showing some pictures of birds that you didn't actually catch yourself. So, one question is about some bird you said, and I of course can't remember who it was, can take down a 5-point buck. How's
No,
that
no,
happen?
no.
And what is that?
No, I said I had a picture of a 5-point buck or a buck. It wasn't a 5-point buck. There was a picture of two deer. The one on the left was, I think, a 3-point buck. And then the one on the right was a female.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. I
Yeah,
misread the question, I think. Okay.
yeah. But most raptors, like let's say a red-tailed hawk, most raptors cannot pick up more than half of their weight.
Oh,
Okay,
I got you.
you know,
Now I see what the problem is. The name of the bird is a killdeer. And so it's like, how you gonna kill a deer, this little bitty bird?
Oh,
Okay, I
okay,
get it.
yeah,
I got you.
the killdeer is based on the name, the sound of its call,
Uh-huh. That's good. That's good.
but it's a sneaky bird,
Thanks,
okay?
Carl. That was a good question.
Yeah. So, most hawks could not pick up a 20-pound dog, for example. Whereas an eagle could possibly pick up an 8-pound cat.
Yes.
But basically the rule of thumb is they don't pick up anything more than half of their own body weight.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
even a large hawk like a red-tailed hawk doesn't weigh more than 3 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, that's all the questions that are there for now. Thank you.
Okay. So moving right along on the sanderling is a small plump sandpiper with a stout bill, about the same length as its head, and they're very pale. Sometimes they look all white, but they have black legs and a black shoulder bar. Now we're getting into the herons. This is the black-crowned night heron. It's a small heron with squat proportions. They have a thick neck, a large flat head, and a heavy pointed bill. And they have red eyes. Their crown and back are black with gray wings and a white belly. And you can also find in Baja the yellow-crowned night heron, which is about the same size, a stocky bird with short, thick necks and short legs. And it has a black and white face with long yellow plumes. The crown here can also be yellow. And they're, I have to go back. And they're dark gray above and white below. Now we come to the great blue heron, which is the largest of the North American herons, with long legs, and they're grayish blue overall, with a pale belly, and they do roost in trees. It's kind of amazing to see this huge bird with long legs roosting in a tree. And I included this particular picture because this great blue heron was trying to swallow this 18-inch fish, and it couldn't get it into its neck or throat to swallow it. And it finally pushed it down into the water. Once it was in the water, it was able to get it further down into its neck and then raise its head to use gravity to get it down the throat. And so I took about 30 pictures of this bird swallowing that fish, and it was pretty amazing to see it swallow such a huge fish. This is great egret. Great egret is a tall, long-legged wading bird with a long S-shaped neck and long dagger-like orange bill. And they walk slowly through freshwater habitats, foraging with a stand and wait technique. This is one of the smaller herons. The green heron is short and stocky with short legs and a thick neck. The adults have a deep green back and crown with a chestnut neck and breasts. The little blue heron is a fairly small heron with a slight body, slender neck, and long legs. The adults have purple maroon head and neck and a dark shady blue body. The bill is two-toned with blue-gray at the base. Okay, so you can see the blue-gray here and the black tip. This is a tricolored heron which is a standard medium-sized heron with blue, gray, lavender, and white. It has a white stripe down the middle of the neck and a white belly. The reddish egret is a long yet elegant heron. They have a grayish blue body with a pinkish cinnamon head and neck, and it's unusual in its foraging technique, often running through the shallows to catch its prey. And this is a high energy heron on steroids. This is the cattle egret, which is short and thick-necked, spends most of its time around cattle. You can see the head and leg of a cow there. They have an orange bill and dark legs and feet, and they develop yellowish orange feathers on the crown and breast during breeding season. Snowy egrets are small egrets with black bill, black legs, and yellow feet. And they have a patch of yellow skin at the base of the bill. And they use their yellow feet as lures to attract fish. And the egret on the right caught a fish that took over 20 minutes to swallow head first. And so it's really like a big flat perch, but it actually got it down. This is a Bonaparte gull. It's a small gull with a thin black bill, and its plumage is mainly white with gray upper parts. And their head is black during breeding season. And in non-breeding, it has a gray spot behind the eye. Laughing gull. It's a medium-sized gull with long wings and long legs, and it has a laugh-like call. Summer adults have a black hood with white arcs around the eyes. The Heermann's gull is a medium-sized gull with long wings. And it's a smoky gray gull with a red bill. And the gulls on the left are juveniles, and the gull on the right is an adult. This is a California gull, which is a white-headed gull with a medium gray-black back and yellow legs. So yellow legs is the key here, with dark eyes, and they're a medium-sized gull. Then the ringbill gull, which is popular in the US, is a medium-sized gull with a shorter bill, and breeding adults have a black band across the bill, yellow legs, and a pale gray back. Okay. Not as big as that gull, which is a Western gull. Western gull is a large white-headed gull with a heavy bill and pink legs. The breeding gulls have a dark gray back and an orange ring around the eye and a red spot on the lower part of the bill. This is a yellow-footed gull, which is a large white-headed gull with dark gray upper parts and inky black wingtips and bright yellow feet. And they are endemic to the Sea of Cortez. Beautiful gull.
15 minutes,
tern.
Alex.
Thank you. The Caspian tern is the largest tern in the world. The Caspian tern has a black cap and never has a white forehead. And it has a thick red bill with a dark tip. Then you also find the elegant tern, and most of them occur in Southern California and Baja California, and 90% of them nest in the Sea of Cortez. They have an orange slender bill with a yellow tip, yellow tip, and the black crown is more extensive than on the royal tern, that may droop in the back of the head. Then we have the royal tern, which has a white forehead and a black shaggy crest, and sometimes confused with the Caspian tern, but not as large. Caspian tern would have an all black head and a black tip. California quail is a small ground dwelling bird with a curved black crest that droops forward, and it has a gray body with intricate scaled underparts. The ladderback woodpecker is a small bird with a square head, short neck, and a stiff tail. And the stripes go all the way up the back. Males have a red crown, the females have a black crown. The Gila woodpecker is a common, medium-sized woodpecker of the desert, and they are grayish brown with brilliant black and white barring on the wings, back, and tail. The males have a red crown patch above the eye. You can barely see it there. The gilded flicker is a medium-sized woodpecker. They're spotted above and below, except on the neck and head. And they have a black bib and a tan crown. See the tan crown? And the male has a mustache stripe. Belted kingfisher are large, conspicuous kingfishers that are common along streams and shores. It's got a top-heavy physique, energetic flight, and a piercing rattle. And they have kind of an air of self-importance. The female is more colorful than the male. Both are blue-gray with white color and a blue-gray breastband. But the female has a chestnut belly band, and a chestnut flank. The greater roadrunner is a long-legged bird in the cuckoo family. They can run more than 20 miles an hour, and they eat snakes, lizards, insects, small mammals, as well as fruit and seeds. We have two swallows. The northern rough-winged swallow is a small, long-bodied bird with a small head and bill. They're entirely brown above with a dusky throat and chest that fades to white. And they're the only brown swallow. The violet green swallows are small, sleek birds with long pointed wings and slightly forked tails. And their wingtips extend beyond their short tail. And they're greenish bronze with an iridescent violet rump and white cheeks and undersides. The ash-throated flycatcher is light brown on top and white below, and they have kind of a pale lemon yellow belly and a cinnamon tail, and they're secondary cavity dwellers. Black phoebe is a small flycatcher with a sooty black body and a white belly, and they sit in the open on low perches to scan for insects. The Cassin's kingbird is a large tyrant flycatcher with a gray back and yellow, lemon yellow undersides, and the tail feathers are tipped in white. The western flycatcher is an attractive small olive back bird with a teardrop shaped eye ring, a peaked crown, and white wing bars. The Vermillion Flycatcher is a compact, brilliant red flycatcher with a dark brown back and wings and a dark stripe from the eye going back to the back of the head. The western wood peewee is grayish brown overall with 2 white wing bars and a gray vest. It typically hunts insects from an exposed perch, flies out to catch them, and returns back to the same perch. Blue-gray gnatcatcher is a tiny, long-tailed bird with a straight bill, long black legs, blue-gray above and white below, with a black tail and white outer tail feathers. And it has a distinctive white eye ring. The common ground dove is the size of a sparrow, and it has a small head and short tail, has pinkish brown upper parts, and grayish head, and a scale pattern on the neck and breast. So you kind of see the scaling there. And this dove has a kind of a pink or red base on the bill, black tip, compared to the ruddy ground dove, which is about the size of a sparrow, small head, dark bill, lump body. I still have 5 minutes. Males are attired in cinnamon, lavender, and gray. Cinnamon above, kind of pinkish underparts, and kind of a grayish head. And this is our common everyday pigeon, which is usually called a block pigeon, and they're found in large flocks in urban areas. White-winged doves are brown overall with a dark line on the cheek. There. And they have a white edge on the tail, on the wing, with a blue eye ring and a red eye. It's the most common dove in Baja. The loggerhead shrike is a thick-bodied songbird that eats other songbirds. This has a gray back, white underside, and black mask. And its thick bill has a small hook. And it is also called the butcher bird because it will impale its prey and store it for later. I'm going to skip the American pipit and go to the cinnamon rump seed eater, which is a small bird with a black head, a white collar, a black breastband, and cinnamon underside. Very unusual bird. And we have the varied bunting, which is very elusive with a small conical bill. And the males are blue and reddish purple overall, and the females are tan overall. And then the house finch, which is common here, is a small finch with a large bill. The males are rosy red about the face and upper breast, with a streaky back and breast, and the females are brown overall with a streaky breast. And then we have the purple finch, which is cranberry red, chunky with a conical bill, reddish streaking on the back, but no streaking on the breast and belly. Lesser goldfinch is a very small bird with bright yellow and a very dark cap and back. The house sparrow is a common urban bird found around people. I still have 5 minutes. I already stopped and asked if I answered questions, Lisa.
You can keep going if you want. There were a few questions if you'd like me to go through them.
Okay, I will, give me 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'll just go through the sparrows. This is the lark sparrow. It's one of the prettiest birds. The Savannah sparrow, which has kind of a yellow eye stripe, and then the beautiful white-crowned sparrow. And we skip the towies. And this is the common yellowthroat, which we have here. And then the Belding's yellowthroat, which has a yellow eye stripe and is endemic to Baja. Black and white warbler, orange-crowned warbler, and yellow warbler. Probably Wilson's warbler, which has the black vicious cap, and the yellow rump warbler. You see the yellow rump there. And then the verdin, which is a small desert bird with a yellow head, and it has kind of reddish shoulders. Beautiful bird. Hooded oriole, most common. Then you have a small orange orchard oriole and a large yellow and black Scots oriole. The most common blackbird is the brown-headed cowbird. And we have the northern cardinal, the pyrolexia, and phainopepla, which is sometimes called the black desert cardinal. And we have a black-headed grosbeak. And the I'll say blue grosbeak. The most common bird would be the cactus wren. And then they have three wrens, the marsh wren, house wren, and cactus wren, of course. And a very common bird there is northern mockingbird, California scrub jay, and the last bird is the common raven. And the end. Now we can go to questions. We still have minutes to go, so any questions?
Yes, well, lots of thank yous, beautiful. Chris asked, what type of heron did we see near Hop Road? This is with Chris Weathered. Hi, Chris.
I'm not sure where Hawk Road is.
Hop Road, H-O-P.
Hop Road. Doesn't ring a bell for me.
It's a mile this side of Notice. It's a big heron roost you took us to.
Okay, say it again. It's my,
A mile this side of Notice. It's a gigantic heron roost across the tracks.
oh, okay. That would have been the gray blue herons.
Thank you. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Yes, and a lot of people are saying thanks, it was lovely. Beautiful photos and about the tourism in Baja, and lots of thank you. So I guess there isn't any, wait, let me see. Thank you. Lots of thank yous. So, and it's interesting as I'm looking through your presentation, all these birds that are in Baja, there's a lot of them that are here in where we are in Idaho. And I'm guessing with other people across the United States also. Like, I was telling you this morning about that dove or that hawk that grabbed a dove, and I think it was that one white dove that you showed, that I have a lot of those in my backyard.
Yeah, the difference a lot of times would be that we're always in Baja in January, which is usually a non-breeding season. And so when we see the birds here, like in Idaho, we're seeing them in breeding season because they come here to breed. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for attending. Thank you, Alex, for this presentation. We do appreciate it. And we're gonna close out now, and the recording will be, as I put in the text, in the chat, the recording will be available on youtube.com, and then search for NKA Idaho, NKA ID, and it'll be available probably a little bit later on this afternoon. So thanks again, everyone, for attending, and have a good rest of your day.